Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever seen a vehicle so minimal it makes a bicycle look over-engineered? A machine so stripped down it makes IKEA furniture seem decadent? Imagine 2 planks of wood, 4 skinny wheels, 1 wild idea, and a powered 5th wheel bolted to the back like it was an afterthought from a sleep-deprived inventor who mistook a wagon for a race car. Friends, meet the Smith Flyer, and later, the Briggs Stratton Flyer, a vehicle that looks like a child's soapbox derby car hooked up with a lawn edger and decided to hit the open road. Before we unpack this brilliant madness on wheels, do us a favor. Tap that subscribe button like you're starting a temperamental flywheel in the rain. We've got more weird machines, wonderful ideas, and history's best underdogs than Bob has unopened jars of expired pickles. Let's roll. The year was 1914. America was a boiling stew of innovation, ambition, and people falling off early motorcycles. In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the A.O. Smith Corporation, usually busy supplying frames and parts to car makers, decided to step out of the background and build something of their own. What they built was so simple, so daring, it became a legend: the Smith Flyer. Now, they didn't exactly invent the concept. Credit for the original motor wheel idea goes to Arthur William Wall in the UK, whose Wall auto wheel was a strange contraption designed to power bicycles. A.O. Smith licensed the Wall auto wheel in 1914, first sold it for bicycles, then introduced the wooden buckboard Smith Flyer around 1915 to 1916. Chief engineer Reuben Stanley Smith patented several versions, including one that looks like a pushcart with an attitude. These patents, like US 373,918, would later land in the hands of Briggs Stratton, the small engine kings, when they bought the Flyer program in 1919. At the time, Americans were wild about cyclecars, tiny, cheap 1- and 2-seaters made of whatever materials the builder had lying around. The Smith Flyer fit right in. It was light, cheap, and perfect for short city hops. It also looked like the vehicle equivalent of a dad who swears he knows what he's doing when assembling a trampoline without instructions. And here's the twist. It wasn't just about the car. The star of the show was that motor wheel, a self-contained engine, hub, and tire in one unit. Briggs Stratton knew it. That's why, when they bought the Flyer rights in 1919, they immediately began improving the motor, adding a steel rod, bumping up the bore, throwing in a flywheel magneto, and launching a newsletter called Motor Wheel Age to spread the gospel. The Flyer itself continued in limited production, but the motor? That thing would evolve into the heartbeat of millions of lawnmowers, snowblowers, and Tim the Toolman Taylor wannabes for decades. Production totals are a bit foggy, like most stories involving wooden vehicles and underpaid patent clerks. The corporate legacy says about 25,000 motor wheels were made by A.O. Smith before the sale in mid-1919. Flyers were just one of several applications. Today, surviving Flyers are museum darlings and auction unicorns. Estimates say there are only dozens left, not hundreds. So how exactly do you drive a wooden plank? Technically, it's a wooden buckboard with 2 seats, no suspension, and no windshield. Think of it as a picnic bench with dreams. The Flyer's secret sauce was the 5th wheel hanging out the back. This wasn't just any wheel. It was the engine, the powertrain, and the main source of drama. A handle next to the driver could lift the wheel off the ground so the engine could idle, and when you were ready to move, you just lowered it onto the road. No clutch, no gears, just 1 cylinder, 1 belt, and a whole lot of trust. Under the hood, which was imaginary, it packed a single-cylinder, air-cooled, 4-stroke gasoline engine mounted directly onto that motor wheel. Early versions cranked out about 1 horsepower. When Briggs Stratton got involved, they pushed it closer to a whopping 2 horsepower, thanks to the bore upgrade and better materials. The engine displacement hovered around 200 cc. There was no gearbox, no reverse, no neutral. The throttle sat on the steering tiller. You got moving by dropping the drive wheel, and if you wanted to stop, well, pray you had strong shoes. There was a foot brake for the front wheels. Let's talk size. The wheelbase measured about 62 inches, 1,575 millimeters, the width a mere 30 inches, 762 millimeters, meaning you could lose it between 2 wheelbarrows. The weight? A feather light 135 pounds, 61 kilograms. The wheels were standard 20 inches bicycle types, the kind you'd see on a child's tricycle or an overconfident penny-farthing enthusiast. It topped out at 22 miles per hour, 35 kilometers per hour on a good day, going downhill with a favorable wind and maybe a light prayer. Fuel economy? Advertisements bragged of 100+ miles per gallon, but then again, my friend Timmy swears his homemade still runs on liquid moonlight and cough syrup, so take that with a grain of ethanol. The Flyer wasn't about comfort, looks, or style. It was about mobility at its most brutally honest. This machine had all the aesthetic charm of a deck chair on roller skates, but it delivered freedom to people who couldn't afford a Model T or didn't want to deal with a horse and buggy. Designers stripped it down to the bare minimum. No bodywork, no hood, no roof, no clutch, and if you wanted doors, you'd better carve them into your imagination. The Flyer was utilitarian to the core, built with simplicity in mind. A set of wooden planks formed the chassis, doubling as the frame and the suspension, with the natural flex of the wood absorbing bumps, sort of. Actually, mostly not. You didn't drive a Flyer so much as hold on and hope. In its own weird way, it was a freedom machine. Cheap, light, and repairable with a hammer and some glue. It was the great-great-grandfather of the Lime scooter. Even after the Flyer itself faded out, its spirit lived on. When Briggs Stratton sold the Flyer's rights in 1925, they kept the engine. That little power plant evolved into the B&S small engine empire that powered everything from lawnmowers to snowblowers and probably at least one homemade margarita blender at a county fair. The Flyer may have vanished, but its heart kept beating in millions of garages worldwide. If you ever get a chance to see one in person, say at the Lumen Museum or at a classic auction, pause and appreciate the wild gamble that was the Flyer. And maybe imagine what it must have felt like to zoom down a dirt path at 20 miles per hour, on a plank of wood, wind in your hair, and fear in your heart. And now, the price of madness. Back in the day, the Smith Flyer cost $135 in 1917, which adjusts to around $3,700 in 2025 dollars. By 1918, A.O. Smith was offering the chassis alone for $145, or a full setup with the motor wheel for $225, about $6,100 today. In 2019, a 1919 Briggs Stratton Flyer sold at R.M. Sotheby's in Hershey for a spicy $27,500. That same year, a 1916 Smith Flyer C motorette went for $18,700, proving that even century-old wooden wagons have fans with deep pockets. Another Briggs Stratton Flyer fetched $20,900 back in 2006 at Amelia Island, back when you could still afford real estate on Earth. Today, good original Flyers, especially with period-correct motor wheels, can command anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000, depending on condition, provenance, and whether or not the buyer has recently watched too many YouTube videos on barn finds. There's something unshakably lovable about the Flyer. It's the underdog, the oddball, the plank that could. It didn't need wind tunnels or CAD models or marketing jargon. It just rolled out of Milwaukee, slapped a wheel on the back and said, "Let's go." To everyone who ever thought, hey, what if I made a car out of fence posts and a lawnmower? This one's for you. Huge thanks to our sponsor supporters, the brave souls who clicked that join button and now get digital high fives and the eternal admiration of a man who once tried to build a go-kart out of ironing boards. You folks keep this old comedy engine running. And to the rest of you, may your wheels stay true, your planks stay uncracked, and your speed never exceed your bravery.